Good evening and welcome to Chico Unified School District's regular board meeting. Today is November 20th, 2019. The board has been in closed session since 4:30. However, there was no action taken, so there is nothing to report. I'd like to now go ahead and call this meeting to order, and if you could, well, we don't have a flag salute today, but I'm going to ask us to do that anyway. So if you could please join me in a flag salute. 3.3. Oh, there we are. Yes, sorry. A little out of order today. All right, now that I'm on the right place on the agenda, we are going to move to item number 4, which is student reports, and I will turn that over to Superintendent Staley.
Thank you. Well, we have quite a treat tonight, and to introduce that treat, I would like to have our principal, Malay Benz, come forward.
Now it's on.
Okay, can you just take a seat right in front of the microphone like you said before, okay? And I'll let you know when we're going to start. All right, good evening. Thank you for having us. You can sit on the floor, guys. Take a seat on the floor, yeah, just like music class. All right. Like Ms. Ben said, my name is Ethan Wolf. I teach music here in the district, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit tonight about the value music can have in the education of our kindergarten students. As a general music teacher, one of my goals is to prepare every student that I have for a lifetime of enriching but simple musical experiences. In 30 years, I want every student I have to be able to, I want them to be able to dance to the steady beat on their wedding night. I want them to be able to sing lullabies to their children. I want them to be able to do all of the basic musical things that are a part of just living as a citizen in our society. So realistically, to reach those goals, we're thinking 30 years in advance, and that needs to start in kindergarten. So really quickly, before we jump into some of the fun stuff that we do in kindergarten music class, and I was telling these guys, we are so lucky to have them. They're going to share their voices with us tonight. So I'm so glad they're here tonight. Before we jump into some of the activities we do, I want to just share with you really quickly some of the research into music cognition in early childhood and how important it is to have music in these early grades. There's a misconception that musical talent is something that you're either born with or you're not. You either have it or you don't, and that's simply not true. What a lot of the research has shown us is that music aptitude, in other words, our readiness to learn music or develop musical ability, is at its highest when we are first born. And that research has also shown that from birth until about age 9, it steadily declines, it stabilizes around age 9. The good news is that sort of decline in music aptitude can be resisted through sort of an intervention using just basic positive musical experiences, singing and dancing and moving. And it does not need to be complicated, but it is crucial that we get those experiences before age 9 so that we can have that heightened musical aptitude, capture it while they're still young, while we're all still young, and then use it as we get a little bit older. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to switch into teacher mode, and we're going to have these guys sing for you a little bit. We're not doing a formal performance. I just want to show you some of the basic things we do in music class so you can get a sense of what we're working on. And I might step out every once in a while just to describe what we're doing. Just a few minutes. All right, guys. So could you reach into your back pocket, grab your peanut puppy for me?
Excuse me, can you make that happen somewhere like out there? Because we can't see any of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Guys, why don't you sit in these chairs right here? Sorry, they're hiding in front of the stage. Right there's good. Reach into your back pocket. Could you grab your peanut puppy, please? And be my echo. song. We've done it many times. Repetition is crucial. We want them to slowly learn these songs so that they can feel confident on them on their own, independently. We do a lot of individual singing, and this is important because as a male teacher, I'm not a great vocal model for them. I can sing in my register, and the song we're going to do in a second. Oh my. We're going to sing Gomer Pie. Ready? Yeah, they're all ready to go. They're already echoing me. But this is not the register they're going to be singing in. I'm singing far too low. And even if I sing, oh my, it's still not the vocal quality we want them to sing with. They think it's kind of funny. They're laughing at me right now. So we want them, I use individual student models. I'll have the student who's singing it accurately. We'll use them. The rest of the class will mimic them. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay, let's hear those head voices, please. Oh, and I hear Deacon on the end using his head voice. Let's try that again. Oh my. Awesome. Can I just hear, let's see, can I just hear Kingston, please? Oh my. Thank you, Kingston. Can we all put our hand above our head? And we're going to sing with our head voice all the way up where our hand is right now. Can you say, oh my? Thank you. And can I hear everyone sing, oh my? Kingston, can I hear you, please? Oh my. Thank you, Kingston. And you'll see it slowly changes throughout the class. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but we do slowly find that space. So I'm going to move on just for the sake of time. That's a fun song. They know all the words. I'll do one more quick activity if that's all right. This is, actually maybe you guys can remind us, what's special about one of my favorite places in the world, Ariostoland? Does anybody remember? What is special about Ariostoland? Yes, that's right. So Deacon is reminding us that in Ariostoland, the people from Ariostoland don't understand talking at all. They only understand singing. They only understand singing. This is an activity where we get them practicing improvising tunes on words that they already know. We want them to not just learn music, but be able to create music intuitively. So, if you could listen to my rhyme, please. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. And we have done this week, so you already know what's happening next. Could you please complete my rhyme? So I will start it, and I want you guys to finish it. Jack and Jill went up the hill
To fetch a pail of water.
Thank you so much, guys. Jack and Jill went up the hill.
To fetch a pail of water.
Beautiful job, beautiful job. We're going to do one more time, and then I'm going to choose one person. Jack and Jill went up the hill.
To fetch a pail of water.
And you'll notice that I changed what I sing both times because I don't want them to rely on what I sang as a cue for what they should do. Each time I want them coming up with something new. Could we have, who would like to sing with me today? Who would like to sing with me today? Jack and Jill went up the hill. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was lovely. Anyone else? Anyone else? Jack and Jill went up the hill. Beautiful job. Thank you so much. So that's all I want to share with you. We're just encouraging them using this voice and developing their truthfulness from this young age. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I think, my contact information is up there. But if you have any questions about anything you saw tonight or about early childhood education, I'm happy to be with you.
Would you mind introducing Kelly over here? Would you mind introducing your students? They were just absolutely amazing, and we'd love to meet them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so over here on the end, we have Kingston. Kingston, could you say hi? And I'm sorry, what? Gage, that's right, sorry. We have Gage here, and then here in the middle we have Sebastian. Sorry, thank you. I have a lot of students that sometimes they slip my mind, so I'm sorry about that. And then here we have Declan. Hi, Declan. And on the end we have Deacon. So these are my 5 students here tonight. And thank you guys for coming and singing with me tonight. That's all we got. So,
Thank you so much for coming and showing us what you're learning today. Thank you.
thanks.
Right.
And all those parents that showed up.
Yes, thank you. It was lovely.
Awesome job, you guys. I am so
Yes.
impressed. To come in front of the board at that age, amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will jump right on into the superintendent's report. And at this point, I would like to invite the principal of Citrus Elementary to the podium, Miss Shannon Payne. Go, Shannon.
Good evening, school board. Good evening, Ms. Staley. Thank you all for having me here tonight. What an honor to look back and see our staff. One of the greatest honors I have as a principal is the camaraderie we have at our school. And when we do something special like honor a teacher or a certificate or classified personnel with the Superintendent's Award, they all show up. And it's because we just really care about each other at our site. So thank you, teachers, for joining us tonight as well. I'm honored to be here tonight to give the Superintendent's Award to two really amazing, extremely important Citrus School staff members. And they're playing along with me really nicely. Citrus's first honoree is Brian Oldfield, and I can best compare him to, yeah, give it up for Brian. What it feels to have the heartbeat of an organization with you. There is very little that's done regarding students' success behaviorally at Citrus that Brian doesn't have his hand in and contribute to in some sort of way. His title is technically an instructional aide, and he really works as a behavior specialist. He works very closely with me. There's no way I could do my day without Brian, and I know a lot of our teachers feel the same way. Those titles hardly recognize the things that Brian does for us as a school. He works on our PBIS Tier 1 team. He works on our PBIS Tier 2 and Tier 3 team, which is our wellness team. He runs our school reset rooms. He's the leader of our yard supervisors, and the kids acknowledge him every year with a special assembly. He's a mindfulness guru. He creates awards plans with students for their success. He's creative and he is humble. He's a confidant not only to staff, but also to our students. He's a friend, and he is trusted and respected by all Citrus staff, families, and students. Frankly, he's just a champion of our school. And he has so many impacts on our site that I can barely list them all as I sat down last night to try and figure out what to say about him. But most importantly, what I want to say about Brian Oldfield is that you really see our students. You see them, you meet them where they're at, you bring positivity to them every time you see them, even when the situation's a little bit sticky. And there's little doubt that our Citrus community is a better place because we get the opportunity to work with Brian. And I just want to thank you, Brian, for loving our school and giving us so much hope and positivity. Love it.
Okay.
I speak for myself.
Brian thinks he's here to present tonight. Our next awardee, Kelly, why don't you join me? Kelly Fellner. So Kelly works at Citrus as our resource teacher, but she's really much more to our school, much like Brian. She's the type of teacher that never settles for anything less than what's best for her students. And you'll see her pumping the hallways to make sure that that's happening every single day. She's always looking for creative ways to solve problems, whether logistical, emotional, academic, and what's best for Citrus students. She's a valued member of our instructional leadership team, our PBIS Tier 3, Tier 2 team, or our wellness team, our leveled reading team, our site SBID team, and on the special education and on our site as well as at the district level. She was nominated not only by me, but also by the special education department, Diane Olson and Dana Feingold, also recognize the incredible talent that Kelly brings to our whole district. What really makes her special to me is, as a resource teacher, oftentimes they have a caseload, we know that, and that's a tough job as it is, but Kelly really sees all 312 of our Citrus students as hers. So she doesn't know any difference. She knows all their names. She sees them in the hallway and they need help. She pulls them into the room. She's creative to her approach and how she supports her students and staff. She's generous of her time, and I know her family will agree to that, who are here today. So thank you for being here this evening. You would never hear her say to someone, no, I can't help you with that. She will find the time, and she makes time for us when we need support with the student or ideas on how to support a student. She's the largest source of academic interventions at Citrus, but she also plays an integral part in the behavior support of many more students. Her room is always available to have a safe environment and a welcoming smile for our students, but most importantly, she always has yummy snacks. So if you're ever at Citrus, go to room 10A. She's got good snacks for you. Kelly's the type of teacher that in 20 years we're going to see students come back and say, you made a difference for me. And I just want to say thank you, Kelly, for putting our kids first, for seeing every one of our kids, much like Brian does. I can't do my job without you as well, and thanks for making Citrus a great place. You're welcome. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you all.
So thank you to Malay and thank you to Shannon for sharing the great things that are going on at our sites. And I will turn it back to you, Madam President.
All right, very good. All right, so our next order of business is item number 6, and that is announcements. Is there anyone on the board who has any announcements? Dr. Kaiser.
Just a chance to report on the League of Women Voters presentation on climate change that was at the Gateway Science Museum on Thursday night. Very interesting. Ann Schwab did the city's assessment of the biggest things that are costing us as taxpayers to keep our city moving. And then we had a science engineer who now is working with the climate education group. And the last was a woman from Paradise who was looking at the sustainability, the rebuilding of Paradise. So these are open and free, and so you might want to go and check the League of Women Voters Butte County thing and see, because there's at least one more coming. So just as encouragement.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Any other announcements? All right, so let's move on to items from the floor. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the council? Please come on up, and our protocol is that we have 3 minutes. Please tell us who you are, and you have 3 minutes to address us.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me come and speak to you. My name is Jody Cornelison, and I'm the board chair for Forest Ranch Charter School. This is Christian Morosco, our director of our school, and we would just like to have your consideration for our charter petition for this next 5 years.
Christia, you could just leave them there, and we can get them after the meeting. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Is there anyone else? Please come on up and let us know who you are, and you'll have 3 minutes to address us. And remember, we cannot really respond to your questions. Mr. Hanlon will be timing you.
Hi, my name is Nathan Methventeri. I am here once again to speak about the policy not allowing non-school programs access to where our kids actually are, which is in the school system. I just want to say that a lot of programs around Chico are suffering or have been suffering because of this policy. And these programs save kids' lives. They improve kids' lives, and they don't contribute because they don't know they're there. You could ask any college baseball player what Little League Baseball has meant to them. You can look up what Neil Armstrong or what Harrison Ford has said what the Boy Scouts has meant to them, or what Hillary Clinton has said that the Girl Scouts has meant to her. We could have the next Neil Armstrong or Hillary Clinton right here in Chico, and they won't reach their full potential because they don't know about these programs, and they don't know how to sign up, how to join, how to meet these folks. And the other thing I'd like to mention is I just had a daughter transition over from 8th grade into freshman year, and that is hard. That is really hard. She's with a lot of people she doesn't know. All of her friends went to other schools. And if it wasn't for the groups that she was with, so she could have some consistency, some consistent friends to go see every week, it would have been an impossible task for her to keep the grades up. So I understand that you guys' main concern is academics, and I would never ask for a minute of any teacher's time because I know it's precious. But if you want kids to succeed, they have to be able to cope with life. During the first week of school, a good friend of my daughter My daughter had to report her to the school because she was cutting herself, because that was the only method that she had to cope with the transition to high school. These programs are important. They save kids' lives. They improve kids' lives. These programs are what's going to prevent the next generation of kids from sleeping down in Central Park or in Children's Park trying to push drugs to other kids. I would really appreciate it if you would try to find a way to allow these groups, because it is hard. It is hard being a kid, especially in this digital age where there's no real connections to anybody. It's all based on Snapchat and Facebook. And if you want to see kids really connect, light a campfire. Let them sit around and talk amongst the flames and the smoke. That's what saves kids. That's what helps them cope with the lives that are middle school and high school. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none, let's go to item number 8, which is negotiations update. We can start with Mr. Hanlon.
Okay, so we met with both groups recently. Matter of fact, with CUTA, we met today all day long. We continued talking about some possible changes in special education, CTE stipends, some job description issues, and preschool contract language. And we're also renumbering the contract because it's a pretty crazy numbering system. So just for organizational purposes. So we continue to talk about all those issues. I don't know if Kevin, if you want to add anything to that.
Nope.
And then last week we met with CSEA on November 12th. We spent quite a bit of time on health and welfare benefits. Some proposed changes by CSEA were brought forward, guidance specialist issues, and transportation issues, hours for our bus drivers. So we continue to talk about those issues. All very constructive conversations in both groups.
Very good. All righty, so next we move to item number 9, which is our consent calendar. Is there any member of the board who would like to pull an item from the consent calendar? Is there anyone from the audience who would like to pull an item for further discussion? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move approval of the consent calendar.
I second that.
All righty, so we have a motion by Liz Griffin, a second by Dr. Kaiser. May I get a roll call vote, please?
Griffin, aye.
Hovey, aye.
Kaiser, aye.
Motion is passed. Thank you. So we'll move now into our discussion action calendar. Item 10.1.1. This is discussion action, Career Technical Education Facilities Grant. Ms. Keene.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Tonight, we're here with some exciting news. The Career Technical Education Facilities Program provides funding to school districts to improve career and tech education programs by constructing new facilities or modernizing existing ones. In the past 2 cycles of this grant, the Chico Unified School District has received funding for 4 proposals. One was Pleasant Valley High School's Culinary School under new construction, Pleasant Valley High School Health Sciences Modernization, Chico High School Agriculture Modernization, and Inspire Design Visual Media Arts Modernization. So this cycle, we're requesting funding for 4 additional proposals. At this time, I'd like to introduce Liz Metzger, who's here with me, and Priscilla Burns, as well as 3 of our teachers from PV involved with this grant writing, Matt Joyner, Cindy Hopkins, and Jill McKay. Actually, if you all would like to come up here, this year we're requesting funding for these proposals. The 2 additional Pleasant Valley Pathway programs, manufacturing and engineering, are selecting to use the last cycle scores to bypass the CDE process, as they still will count that. So. Uh-oh. Do we have a display?
Ms. Ethan's.
No, there was no display on this one. It was mostly just, thank you for pointing that out, though. You made me think, did I put in a display? I didn't remember I did that. Liz and these folks are actually the ones who have done the hard work here. So if you have questions or anything you would like to ask, they are here and have put in a lot of hard work and time, and we all can appreciate that they have done this for their programs for their kids.
So I appreciate the, I don't know if I want to call it a dog harness or the straitjacket that the grant has you in, right? Because they're having to project a cost per student over 10 years. So I don't have any qualms about the culinary one because it's in the medical ed, because it's already been, there. But the arts one really has an aggressive projection of students. So I'm just hoping that, in effect, you can do that. And the other aspect of it is that the expectation is every single student will work with a real live client.
The arts one is ours.
Yeah.
I just sound really bad on microphones. The arts one is ours, and we actually have been working on our arts program, a transition through, we started with an SSP grant 3 years ago. This is our third year of the SSP grant. So we developed the Graphic Arts and Design program, and we are in our second year of implementation of that. And so part of the projection of growth in that is the future students in those classes, we see that they're going to be increasing. We are also transitioning our arts program on our traditional side, which is commercial and design, commercial something design, I forget the subpathway title. So that's the projection. It's really students we already have in our program that will roll from our VAPA to our CTE. So we will be writing those classes. We already started this year with our art, intro to art class. We're converting to, we're calling it Art 1. And so we're transitioning those. So the projections are a transition from our traditional pathway to both. So there'll be a VAPA class, a CTE, so they will get credit for VAPA, CTE, and our classes are all A to G approved in the fine art category.
So what happens if a student can't get quote-unquote a client?
The client is the graphic design side, and that's it's our capstone class. And I haven't had a problem with them not getting a client because teachers on campus want stuff designed.
Oh, teacher, okay.
So
okay.
that's a client.
I thought it had
So-
to be out there.
Eventually, we do want them to have that, and I also haven't had a problem with that because there's, they have contacts. It can be an aunt living in Los Angeles who needs something designed for a business that she has. And the awesome thing with that is we're teaching them how to telecommunicate.
Yes.
So they will be working with a client, they will have to design something for that client, and they will also have to learn how to do a presentation to a client who's not physically present. So there's so many real-world applications there, not just with the creation process, but also with the actual business communication process, which
No, I thought it was excellent. I was just concerned about where the clients were going to come from.
They're out there.
That's great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, so I just wondered, who was the person who was going to be in charge of the child development? Is it Priscilla? No?
We have Janice Sunderland, who was hired to take the place of Laura Deedle, that retired last year, and she's filling in very well.
Okay, couldn't be happier.
Yeah, she's wonderful
That's wonderful.
with the child development head.
Can't be more excited about this program and the potential this has for also helping the district with some of our needs and training a good workforce. Always been a huge advocate for early childhood education, quality early childhood education, and I just see so much potential with us having a hand in that. So I want to thank you very much for promoting this and following through with this.
Yeah, many states have a program called Grow Your Own, which is grow your own teachers, and we really need to look to our students for, finding those that want to have the heart of a teacher, nurturing them.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Landon? All right, well, thank you so much. Yes, please do.
Just really quickly, Kathy, you mentioned the straitjacket of the grant, and it is a straitjacket. It's not an easy thing to write. And I want to really just acknowledge and appreciate Cindy and Jill and Matt and Priscilla for taking time out of their day, and I think most of them teach 6/5 actually already, and then they take the time to tackle this thing that's really a challenging thing to do, even for a grant writer. So they definitely need applause and support and gratitude. Okay.
Thank you. So this is a discussion action item. Do we need to approve these grant proposals?
Yeah, they need to be approved for us to be able to submit them, and they're due December 2nd.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Yes, I want to move 10.1.1.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Kaiser, a second by Liz Griffin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Motion is passed. Thank you so much for all your work.
And before Tina leaves, I just want to recognize Tina for her outstanding work this week. We are having a federal program monitoring audit going on. This is one of the things Tina walked into in her very first year in this position, and she has been nothing but positive, which I cannot say for all of the rest of us. She has been just whatever they throw at us, yes, absolutely, we can do that. So thank you for your can-do attitude, your positivity, and making us look so good.
Well, we're not done yet, but we'll keep fingers crossed. Thank you. I've learned a lot.
All right, so we'll move on to that next item, which is 10.1.2, and this is also discussion action. It's school-level parent and family engagement updated documents.
Right. Kelly did segue very nicely into
Yes.
that. We have 3 schools being monitored this monitoring cycle, but it is a goal of mine to continue this work with all of our schools. The updating of the school-level parent and family engagement has been important because we've had to update since I believe it was 2011 was the last time that it had been updated. So a lot of different things have happened, including the LCAP. None of that was ever recognized in the prior one. So we've had to update a lot, and a lot of law has to be included with that. Part of that challenge coming up is to now incorporate it into the school cultures and have the schools feel the freedom to put in the activities that they do specifically for their parents and their family engagement. And all of our schools have a lot of similarities, but they also have their own distinct pieces too, and I think those should be celebrated and those should be acknowledged. So that is a work in progress. It's something I'm pretty excited about, and I'm happy to help schools as they go through that process every year.
Great. Comments? Dr. Kaiser.
Well, this is more like walking with cement on your shoes. Every footprint you make is exactly like the last one because they're standing there. But there are some initials that I think would be helpful that they're actually identified in a footnote or a star. So, you know, there was a DCLA or something that,
The DLAC?
yeah.
Yeah, district leadership.
And it's
yeah.
not identified anywhere. So just,
Okay.
Spell that out.
yeah, well, once, I
Right,
mean,
right.
the cement keeps coming, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. It's a big thing to tackle, but we'll get there. Yeah, thank you.
No, if this is an action item, I move approval of this item.
I second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve by Liz Griffin, a second by Dr. Kaiser. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item of business is 10.2.1. This is discussion action, Charter Schools Measure K project request. And there's Julie Kissel back there. And Mike Weisenborn.
Could you repeat the name of this item?
This is Charter Schools Measure K project request. It's item 10.2.1.
Good evening and thank you. Again, the Charter School Measure K Committee has been back to work, and they have brought forward 2 projects for your review this evening. They are both at Core Butte Charter School. The first one is for AV equipment for their gymnasium, in particular a sound system and a screen and projector to be installed. And then additionally, there's classroom computers for their TK-8 classroom. So we bring those 2 projects forward for your review and hopeful approval tonight.
Questions or comments? Questions or comments from the audience? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion from Liz Griffin, a second by Mr. Lando. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move to the next item since you're here, Ms. Kissel. This is discussion action item, resolution number 1487-19, and I'll let you explain that.
Thank you. It's customary for the district on every major project to come to the board and ask for your approval on this resolution to exempt ourselves from the city's ordinances on construction. As you know, we fall under the Division of the State Architect purview to oversee our projects. And this does save the city and the district from a lengthy process for review for certain ordinances. That being said, it also, we make sure to communicate with the city if we're doing a project. For instance, I'll use an example of Neil Dow. The city has an ADA committee, an Americans with Disabilities Act committee, that's very active in the city. That committee recognized that we were doing a major project at Neil Dow. The two main intersections at Neil Dow do not have accessible ramps at the crosswalks at the two intersections. So the city came to us to say, you know, this really needs to be done. We don't have the money to do it all. So we're working in cooperation with the city using our redevelopment dollars to assist to get those handicap ramps put in at the crosswalks there, which is a benefit to our students and it's a benefit to the community. So even though we exempt ourselves from the ordinances, we still work together very closely to make sure that we collaborate on those kinds of issues.
Excellent.
So this one in particular is for the Pleasant Valley High School project, which you heard about earlier.
Mhm.
I'd also like to remind the board that government code requires a 2/3 vote. And since we have a board member absent, it would need to be a unanimous vote of the members present.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Good point.
Questions, comments? Dr. Kaiser?
Well, comment, I'm probably the only person that had it printed out. It's incredibly dense. But it's reassuring to see how many aspects of this that we are required to document that we are taking care of. Everything from birds to water to noise to decibels to dust. So it was an extremely thorough presentation, and with that, I'd like to move 10.2.2.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Dr. Kaiser and a second by Liz Griffin. Is there any other comments or questions from the board? Comments or questions from the audience? All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion is unanimously approved. We have our 2/3 vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, since you're here, Ms. Kissel, 10.2.3, again, discussion action for resolution number 1486-19.
So this is an exact same situation,
Yes.
different resolution number and different project. So this is for the upcoming project at Chico Country Day School.
Julie, I have a question here. So there are 4 existing portables that are going to be relocated, but there is actually going to be new construction of a 4,400 square foot kindergarten.
Yes.
Okay, so how, and an administration building. So how exactly does that work as far as, that is our site, but if they put a new building on there, how does that work as far as, and maybe this is a question for Kevin, as far as ownership, responsibility, those kind of things?
So we had gotten to a point where there weren't any buildings left on the Chico Country Day campus that were actually owned by Chico Unified, except for their small kindergarten building. But now, it will be different with this upcoming project. The project, the portables that are going to be relocated are going to be relocated for interim housing only, and then they will eventually leave the site. They're only temporarily placed there during construction. And then when these buildings are constructed, they will actually be owned by the school district. We will be managing the construction. The dollars it will be funded with Measure K. So it will be district-owned property on our own land.
Okay.
Because as a reminder, if we use bond dollars, the asset needs to remain in the district's name, but per the bond language, the benefit of those dollars goes to the charter school. So they would get to use it, full access, but the asset remains in our name.
Okay, and that is the same for other things too, like we're just voted on in the other item, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, it gets confusing with all those things.
It has been a learning process, because one of the things we entered in with the bond dollars is, you know, who owns it and how does that, it's been clear that because they're bond dollars in the district's name and you have fiscal authority over those dollars, it needs to remain in the district's name, but the charter school still gets the benefit of those. We put those built on their behalf per the facility committee, and it seems to be working well.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. With that question answered, I will move approval of 10.2.3.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Liz Griffin, a second by Dr. Kaiser. Are there any further questions or comments from the board? Questions or comments from the audience? All righty, all those in favor, please say
Aye.
Aye, motion is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So next we move into human resources, 10.3.1. This is discussion action, resolution number 1485-19. Mr. Hanlon.
So this resolution is pretty straightforward. At the current time, our elementary schools get a half-time instructional aid for computers at their sites. If a school site decides with their site dollars, they can add time to that. Neil Dow did in the past, but now those funds are no longer available, so they're cutting back to the normal half-day time period. So it's a reduction of basically 15 minutes a day. So we have worked this out with the union, and it's just a simple reduction of 15 minutes a day, or about an hour and 15 minutes for the week.
Okay, I
Questions?
move approval of 10.3.1.
Okay, we have a motion by Liz Griffin, a second from Mr. Lando. Are there any questions or comments from the board? From the audience? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion is passed. Thank you. Next item is 10.4.1, discussion action. This is the approval of board policy updates that we took a look at last time. This is our second reading. So are there any questions or edits from any of the board? Okay, is there anyone like to make a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Liz Griffin, a second by Dr. Kaiser. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to comment on these two board policies? Seeing none, I'd like a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion is approved. Thank you. We are just moving right along. So now we will go to 10.4.2, and this is discussion action. It's approval of a single reading adoption of the revised and updated board policies. There are several policies attached here. We are pulling board policy 5141.52.
5145.52.45.
We are pulling 5141.52, correct. Suicide prevention.
Yes.
My number's wrong.
Okay.
No, I mean, my number's wrong on
On the
front.
paper?
Yeah, on the paper.
So we'll be looking at those other ones for discussion. Does anyone have any comments or discussion on these policies?
Not I.
Dr. Kaiser?
No.
All right, how about Mr. Lando?
I'm sorry, which number?
Sorry, 5141.13? 5145.13. I borrowed her 5 and put it over here. Okay. It directs administration to make a policy regarding this. I would just like to know if we have drawn up a policy in regards to response to requests for information from immigration authorities, and if so, would you mind sharing that with us? If not now, then at some point in the near future.
Yes, more than happy to forward that to you. We have protocols that we follow in that situation.
Thank you. And again, I'm sorry for springing this on you.
No,
We just
not a
got
problem.
late read on this one. Thank you.
I move approval of 10.4.2.
All righty. Well, we have a motion to approve the board policies under this item 10.4.2. Are there any further questions from the board? Questions or comments from the audience?
Yeah, question.
Come on up, sir.
My name is Mark Root. I'm a new Chico resident. I'm also a substitute teacher in Chico schools, mostly high school, but I'll do middle school too. And I'm working on prerequisites for my teaching credential at Chico State. Question regarding that 5145.13. The policy, the district policy on administration expectations as far as immigration services, is that public information? Like, is that something that I could read as well?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if I give you my email after, I can get a
You
copy?
got it. Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
All our
also
policies are on our
available.
website. This one will get
It's
up there
online.
once it's approved. So
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
you're very welcome. Welcome to Chico.
Thank you.
All right. Did we vote on that? We didn't yet. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. We are now moving to items from the floor. Is there another opportunity from anyone in the audience to come up and speak to us? Seeing none, we're going to move into a recess. And during this recess, we will hold our annual meeting of the Board of Directors for the Chico Unified School Financing Corporation. So we will go ahead and recess. And then I'll just
Yep.
turn it over to you, Mr. Bultema.
Absolutely. So this is in the annual meeting of the Chico Unified Financing Corporation. You are the board members of a corporation originally established for financing purposes. The district, being a government agency, often can't take out certain types of debt. So the corporation was created. The only debt that remains is a lease purchase agreement that was used to purchase solar system at Little Chico Creek. Currently, the annual payment of principal and interest is $47,000. And we just want to make you aware of that. So you have, I think, approval of minutes from the prior year to take place, and then we have one action discussion item.
So Kevin, you're asking us to approve the minutes before we deal with the actual issue, correct?
Yes, because you would be moving on to 3.1, approval of the minutes from annual, which would be from a year ago. And then after that, we wanted to take on 3.2, the discussion.
Right. So I'll move 3.1.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Dr. Kaiser, a second by Mr. Lando. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Yep. I don't see that specifically broken out, though, on our agenda here.
So there's actually a separate agenda for the corporation meeting itself. If you look at the calendar for your agendas, there were two attached.
Ah,
one
yes, you're
regular
absolutely
meeting,
right.
And then one for the corporation.
You are absolutely right. I apologize. Get there. Well, there it is.
It's corporation.
Okay, so this was item 3.1 in the corporation.
3.2 is what we're moving to, though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So to clarify, did you get that, Erica? Was that clear? Okay, very good. So motion has passed unanimously. So now we'll move to item 3.2. And Mr. Bultema?
Okay, again, the only outstanding debt was a lease purchase agreement entered into in 2005. The outstanding balance of principal at the end of the year, December 31st, 2019, is $249,831.61. Again, annually, we pay $47,656.64 in both principal and interest. The district administration is making the recommendation to the corporation to prepay the rest of the outstanding balance at this point. The district or the administration recommends that we use the set-aside dollars from MA liability. We have currently available, we have $888,666 set aside related to MA liability. As a reminder, federal government was doing a backcasting, and we were concerned we might have to repay a backcasting amount to the federal and state government. That seems to be getting resolved and almost completed at this point in time, and we're being assured that that's going to move forward, that they're not going to ask for money back. These are the dollars that are the district's portion of MA. The other piece has been handed out to the teachers per the contract
Great, that was
agreement.
my question,
So they've already
yeah.
received those dollars historically. So these are dollars that are available for the district, and we would recommend that we use the balance of those dollars and pay off the entire balance. This would eliminate all debt from the corporation, and operationally related to the Chico Unified School District budget, the only outstanding debt that we have is for leases of buses as a grant match. If you remember, we still have 5 years to pay for those. And then we have a solar system on the 0% interest California Energy Commission loan for the 5 solar installations we did that basically were offset by the savings in energy. So our recommendation is to just simply use those dollars and completely wipe out this debt at this point in time.
Do you have any idea how much money would be saved?
Yes, over the period of time. I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up now. I'm sorry, the interest is about $18,000 per year. Should have that. That's all right. I would need to provide you that number. I don't have that with me. But we would be saving all the interest at this point in time that would be payable over the remaining balance.
And how many more years did you say it would have left?
We have, shoot, I don't have the debt schedule with me. I need to pull up the agreement, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure you've done your homework on it, so I didn't mean to catch you
No, that's
off
okay.
guard.
There we go. Got it. It was a 20-year term, and we have. And we still have 14 years remaining.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that sounds,
Yeah, we're saving about $25,000.
that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I move approval of that process.
I'll second.
So we have a motion to approve by Liz Griffin and a second by Tom Lando. Are there any further questions from the board? Questions from the audience? Kevin, I just want to clarify the MA dollars. Now, these were set-aside dollars. They weren't actually the MA dollars. Is
So-
that correct? Am I correct in that?
We say it's Medicare administrative
Correct.
activities, correct?
Right.
They were dollars that were given to the district, unrestricted dollars. that were
Unrestricted,
paid
that's
back
where I
to
was
the
going with
district.
this.
They were moved to a locally restricted account when we received the notification from MA and from our LEC.
Correct,
And we set those aside, considering that we would have a full liability to pay those dollars back.
right.
Now that that liability appears to be going away, they are available to us, they are unrestricted, and we've already met the requirements of our negotiated agreement with CUTA and passed those dollars out to them a number of years ago.
All right,
So
Thank you.
we would still have over $600,000 left
Thank
in
you.
that account.
All right, I'm clear and I'm satisfied with that. Okay, so we have a motion and a second and no further comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is passed unanimously. So now we will come back to our items from the floor. This is items, excuse me, I'm sorry. We are on item 13, announcements. Any announcements? You know, I think I do need to adjourn the finance meeting, so let me do that. Now we will take announcements, item 13. I'm sorry, a little out of sorts tonight. All right, no announcements from the floor, from the board. We will move into adjournment, and I wish everyone here a very, very happy Thanksgiving. So, yes, and we are going back into closed session, so have a good night.